Welcome to our adventure book where we help you turn family travel dreams into unforgettable memories. We are your hosts. I'm Jenny,
And I'm Eve.
and this podcast is designed to help take the stress out of family travel. So let's get started.
I always get excited when you say, let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about going to the beach, family vacations to the beach. So it's currently summer break right now, and some of you may be off to the beach already or considering going on a beach trip. So we're going to talk about 3 tips for beach travel. And I'll jump right in and say that when you're starting to think about going to the beach, take the time to think about what kind of experience you want to have. Do you want to go to more like luxury type beach? Do you want to do like an all inclusive? Do you want to fly to get there? Do you want to drive if that's an option? What kind of beach do you want to go to? There's all sorts of, some people can drive onto the beach, especially here in Texas. There's other ones that you can't have cars go on. So thinking about your family, what kind of sand you like, what kind of water, um, doing the upfront, what kind of experience thought work is going to make a big difference in how much you enjoy an actual beach trip.
That is such a great tip because I have talked to people who are like, "We're going to go to California for the a beach trip," and I'm like, "Do you realize how cold that water is? Like, you're from Texas, so you are not going to want to swim in it." And they didn't. So yes, you have to research where you want to go. That's such a good tip. So my tip is a little bit simpler. It is pack your own sunscreen and ask me how I know. We burn very easily in our family, and there were so many times we are like, "We'll buy sunscreen when we get there." But here's the thing, as soon as we got there, the kids wanted to get to the beach, run to the water, and I'm like, "Well, it's later in the day, we won't get burned." We got burned fast. So, just pack your own sunscreen. If you're flying, just pack a bunch of travel size ones, but at least if you can buy it when you get there sometimes you can't. This might not be as easy as you think it is, but just pack something so at least when you get there and your kids want to run out and hit the beach right away, at least you have something to put on them, especially if your family burns easily.
That's a good tip because it's something that you could easily overlook.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, great. My next tip is to make a Google Doc or a checklist or in your Apple Notes that you can reuse over and over every year because inevitably when we would go to the beach, we would forget something. And so having something that was shareable or even just for yourself that you can check off and make sure you don't forget everything, like sunscreen to pack ahead, um, that really helped us have it broken out by categories or even who was responsible for bringing what to the beach if you're going with more people.
Yes, checklists are always great, especially when you travel as a family. So
Oh, we love a
helpful.
checklist, don't we?
Love a checklist. I make one every day.
Yes.
Okay, so mine is back to sun protection. If you have little kids, get them a long sleeve swimsuit. Not only is this going to be great because, first of all, kids and putting sunscreen on them isn't always easy. They're wiggly, they want to get wet. Just put them in a long sleeve swimsuit that will protect their shoulders, their chest, and their arms, which are typically the places that they are going to get burned pretty quickly, minus their face. But it also protects them against the sand. I had a couple of kids that didn't love the feel of the sand. It was okay on their legs, but they didn't like it on their upper body. So having some long sleeve protection on them just protects them not only from the sun, but also the sand.
Yeah, that's a great tip. All right, let's see. I'm going to roll into and talking about accommodations. So choosing the right accommodations before you go. Ask yourself questions like, is getting a beachfront property worth the extra cost for you? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe you're off a block if say you're going where there's beach houses, or do you want to wake up in the morning and have your cup of tea out on a deck and see it where you can just walk down or maybe sit there where if you have older kids where they can go down to the beach and you can still watch them from there. So thinking about the accommodations where you are going. For example, does it have a kitchen? Are you going to pop into like a local grocery store and grab some things, or if you're drivable, bring things in a cooler where you're going to make meals there, or is it someplace where you're going to be popping out and needing to get food? Um, Also, is parking included? How far are you actually from restaurants and groceries? Because you can get to some great beach locations, but if you've got to drive 40 minutes to go eat every day, that can be a little bit of a beat down. And then also, is there a pool included where you're going? Are you a family who likes to have a pool for some swimming? Maybe people who don't like the um, getting in the actual ocean or getting the sand on them, having a pool there, or just are you just all straight in on beach thinking about that when you're looking at where to go?
That's a great tip. It's so important to make sure you're staying at a comfortable place for everyone.
Yeah.
So, my last tip is plan something to do besides just sitting on the beach. Beach trips are amazing, and being at the beach and the sand and the sun and the water is so fun. But depending how long your vacation is, that might get kind of old and you might want to try something new. So, what I like to do is research in the town other things that we can do while we are there, and they can just be simple things as maybe going to some souvenir shops, some locations, like we used to go to South Padre every year, they have like a turtle rescue center that we would love to go visit. Maybe just renting a golf cart and driving it down the street and kind of just exploring new areas, just something to do to kind of get you out of the sun and out of the water if you just want kind of a break from doing that. Most of these towns will have at least something that you can go do, maybe go on a boat ride, do a fishing trip, just something different besides just laying around at the beach.
Yeah, I love that because, it also opens up for people who don't maybe you have a kid who doesn't love the beach quite as much. And so if you know that you have a little trip into town, a lot of those beach towns, you're always going to have like an ice cream shop, right? Or a little mini golf. And that can just more memory making when you go on these
Yes,
trips. Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, so let's move into our next segment, which is our adventure book tips of the week. And this one is about what you don't want to forget to pack for a beach vacation. What's your best tip, Eve?
My best tip, and honestly, this is for every vacation, is that we just have a small little travel bag that stays packed for medical stuff all the time. And it goes on every trip with us. But when you're going to the beach, you can throw your sunscreen in there, definitely throw a little tube of aloe vera in there, and just have your essentials. You can have waterproof band aids, Neosporin, cleaning stuff. Tummy stuff, if you're eating different, if you have Pepto and Tums. If you're going to the beach, I highly recommend like the Dermaplast where you can spray if anybody gets any sort of stings or jellyfish. I hope that doesn't happen, but having it on hand is awesome if that does come up. Another thing at the beach that we keep in there are those like dehydration tabs, like the liquid IV or whatnot. Some anti-chafing cream because you know how that is when you get all that sand in that seawater and bathing suits. Just having my personal favorite. This is not an ad for any of this stuff, but I like me some Boudreaux's butt paste. Or having motion sickness tabs as you're going to go on a boat or something like that. But having it all there readily accessible on the beach is perfect, but then for any vacation that you go on, just throw that little medical kit bag with you, having a thermometer, Tylenol, all that good stuff.
Yes, that's a must need for any family. So, my biggest thing to pack is hats. Everyone needs to pack a hat, even if you have a kid or even if you aren't a big hat wearer, pack a hat because chances are you're going to want to put the hat on. Because if you're out in the sun all day, it can just be exhausting. So, just by putting the
Mhm.
hat on, kind of covers your face, it lightens the light from your eyes so you can kind of relax a little bit instead of feeling all squinty, even with sunglasses. Like it can give you a break from wearing your sunglasses if you put a hat on. So, I think everyone needs a hat.
I totally agree with that. And I didn't know you were going to say that, but I wore my beach time hat today. So next time you
Nice.
go to the beach, Jenny, I'm going to throw this in your bag.
Yes.
All right. Well, awesome. Thanks for sharing those. Let's go ahead and move on to our magical moments from a beach vacation. What's one of yours?
So when my boys were little, we used to go to South Padre Island every year with my parents, my sister and her family, and then my brother. He was still in high school when we started going, so he would usually bring a friend. We stayed at the exact same place. It was this really beautiful condo, high rise with a pool right on the beach, and just having those memories of every year going to this exact location. I can still picture, my boys and my niece running out to the water, swimming, coming back up, and all of us in the hotel or the condo at the end of the day and cooking dinner together. And watching a movie or a sporting event kind of around the TV. It was just such special memories. And I think beach vacations when your kids are little are just so easy and a great way to go make memories with them without having to deal with a lot of planning. And so it's just very relaxed, very fun. Just that location, all of that. I will never forget
I know. I'll never forget you talking about those trips and how
it.
much fun you had. And it's
Yes.
funny that that's your favorite because that's actually my favorite memories too. You guys would go off to South Padre Island with your family, and we would head to Galveston for with my family. And so my dad was awesome at finding us a beach house right on the beach, and we usually stay in different places unless we found a really great one that we wanted to return to. And everybody would kind of have their own rooms, and we take, the kids and cousins, and we'd put all the kids in the bunk rooms and have a balcony and sit out there and have our tea or our meals or swings or watching the kids down there. My dad's a big planner too, so he would have all his, pop up tent, and we'd have all the chairs and all the gear, and going on the beach at night with his bag of flashlights and doing some crab hunting, but also just coming back after a full day of sifting for seashells, sitting there, hanging out, popping back and forth, having cheese and crackers on the beach for lunch, and then coming back and playing like card games or, Catan or something like that, and sitting in the beach house at night hanging out with like big family stuff. That's definitely great memories for all of us forever.
Yeah, and just beach vacations are great multi-generational vacations. It's a great chance if you're wanting to take a vacation with your whole family, like your parents, your siblings and their families, and everyone. These are great options because you can usually find a house big enough to fit everyone for a reasonable price. And it's just something almost everyone likes. Like, it's really, really fun and just such a fun way to make memories. I remember when we met, we were like the 2 people that always did this with our families out of, like, the group of women that we hung out with.
Yeah, that's funny because here we are now, years and years and years and years and years
Yes.
later talking about it.
I know, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay,
And,
so
kinda going back to that checklist real quick,
mhm.
um, one thing when we would go to the beach is we would split up meal times. So kinda like each family that was coming would have a different night or a different day, and we would plan, like, they would do a lunch this day, and then we'd do a lunch this day, and then you were responsible for bringing your own ingredients for that. And then it's nice because, normally when you go on vacation, like, mom can be in charge of all that food the whole time, but you're like, "Well, I only have to do lunch 1 or 2 days." And then we usually would eat, like, seafood out every night and take turns paying for that and bringing it back in, so just another
That's
memory.
really good. Yeah, that's a really good tip. Splitting up the cooking
Awesome.
duties. Okay, so that's all for today's show. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope if you're taking a beach vacation this summer that this was very helpful to you. Or if you don't know where you're going yet this summer, maybe this encourages you to go ahead and plan that beach vacation because one good thing about beach vacations is they can be planned at the last minute. If you're
Yes.
watching if you're watching on YouTube, please like the show and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and leave us a positive review. Drop a comment below. Tell us where your favorite beach to visit is. I would love to know because we're always on the hunt for new beaches to visit. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, make sure you're following along. Every Wednesday, there's new episodes and share the show with anyone you know that is traveling as a family or wants to travel as a family, as that's a great way to support us.
Yes, we would definitely love to hear from you. Please go comment on our Instagram, which is our adventure book travel. We never get that right.
We never get that right.
Or on YouTube. But leave us a comment. Let us know. We'd love to engage with you and hear about your trips. That's fun. And then just keep joining us every Wednesday for a new episode. And remember, the best stories are the ones you live together. Till next time.